So now I've put all the books in bags and boards into bricks. Now I need to find a box that's going to fit them nicely to ship them to Sean at headquarters. So we've got here, we don't want to put too many bricks into one box, because you'll find that the kind of boxes you can buy that are big enough won't be strong enough to support that many bricks. So what I've got here actually is a box that bags and boards arrived in. These are super double thick corrugated cardboard, nice and heavy. I've got some old used bubble wrap that I used for something else for when I moved, and it's just lying around, so we're going to use that as kind of padding. I'm just going to find, hopefully, just some scraps of packaging. We don't want to put it into an empty box. So I've got some scrunched up paper, newspaper would be fine, old bubble wrap that's already been used for one thing. And I'm just going to take the bricks one by one and put them on top of that. Just the idea is you want a box that's just big enough that there's space all the way around the bricks. You see how there's a gap all the way around? We're going to fill that up with newspaper or scrunched up paper or bubble wrap. Old bubble wrap, you don't really want to waste brand new bubble wrap on this. So, there are 3 bricks, and they just fit nice and snug in there. Just closes. In a perfect world, would have enough space on the top just to put another layer of something, but it's not really going to make that much difference. This will close really tightly. Books get damaged when there's so much room inside the box that they just shuffle around in transit, and then those bricks could eventually break open if they got mistreated enough. But this is a nice tight box, and when we've stuffed it, I can do that hopefully with one hand. So you see how all the bricks are on top of one another. Now you could try it different ways. I did this before I started the video, but if it doesn't fit this way around, you could stand them up on their sides or on their ends if the box is the right kind of shape. I'm just going to take, this was an Amazon shipment I think, paper and stuff it down one side. Don't worry, the bricks will kind of shift over, but then we can shift them back. See, if I put my hand down this side, there's space again, I can just stuff paper down the other side, compensate. It's pretty hard to do this one hand. I'm going to switch off for a sec. Right, so the 3 bricks inside the box, you can see it, I've surrounded them with protection. We don't want any empty space. We don't want the bricks to be able to slide around in the box. You see how nice and tight they are? I can push it quite a lot. It moves the whole box, it doesn't move the bricks. Any damage that happens is going to happen at the corners. When a post office worker or a FedEx worker drops a box, it usually falls on a corner, and that's when internal contents can get damaged. But you can see here where my finger is, look, there's a good inch or 2 between the corner and the bricks, so we're plenty safe. Fold it closed, and clearly I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand. You can see how tight it is. So I'm just going to close up the first box of this shipment of bagged and boarded comics that are in bricks. Nice solid box. This was the box that we just seen being packed. It was used for bags and boards. These are very heavy, the boards that comic books are stored in, so the boxes they ship them in are really, really secure. And this one's got a nice double-walled cardboard. You probably can't see it on this video. Double-walled cardboard, corrugated cardboard. So basically all we need to do now is make sure it's securely taped closed. Let's just give you a better angle. There we are. So I'm just going to get my tape. These boxes can be pretty heavy, so this is one time you don't want to be cheap with tape. Throughout the brick process I've showed you, don't use too much tape, don't use too much tape. But here we can open the boxes with an X-Acto knife when they arrive, and it takes a minute. But if the box sprung open in transit, that would be a disaster. So there's probably $20,000 worth of vintage comics in this box. I don't want it to get damaged. Another tip, before you spend a lot of time taping all the seams closed on this, just pick it up and give it a little shake. If you feel the stuff sloshing around inside, you'll know what I mean. You'll feel it moving about. Then you haven't done a good enough job of protecting the bricks from the inner space. But this one is perfect. I'm just going to finish taping it closed. What I do with this is I put 3 strips of tape across the seams of the box, the flat. These are usually super tightly done because they come, bags and boards come in these, the boards come in these, so it's really, really hard. Well taped. But I'm just going to tape strips of tape across the bottom. And this is where the investment in Scotch tape versus no-name tape is definitely worth it, because it's much stronger, much less likely to unstick. But cheap tapes unstick from the side of the boxes and you see them flapping about. Right, so you probably can't see that. What I've done is I've covered the whole bottom of the box in tape. But I didn't do that on the top, so why I didn't do that was because, okay, this is not the original thing I'm going to be using, but I'm going to use a piece of paper printed over from my printer to ship to Sean. So if I have his name and address, my return name and address on the top, and then what I'm going to do is cover that paper with tape and wrap it around the sides. So it does the job of sealing the whole box closed on the top and sealing the address label on the outside, covered in tape. So if there's any problem with water or anything getting on the label, it won't damage it. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to try and do a bigger box next, to maybe have like, am I going to do that? I don't know, I've got 8 bricks altogether. Anyway, I'm going to try and put another one together for you, but the next series of videos are going to be how to make bricks out of books that are not in bags and boards, and it's a slightly different procedure because the bags and boards are great at protecting comics perfectly. When you're working with raw books without bags and boards, you have to be a little more careful. I'm going to show you what to do right now. I've got a couple more tips for you when you're shipping bricks in boxes. Although you can buy shipping boxes from places like Office World or Home Depot, this tip is quite a money saver, and it also can actually be better. Some foods and liquids are shipped in boxes which are protecting the bottles, because obviously, like if you're selling, in this case, I think it was Chile or Spain, someone shipped wine all the way to Canada. It has to be protected really well against damage in transit. So these boxes tend to be almost exactly the right size for a brick of comic books, and just solid. Like, this is a 12 bottles of wine. It's got 2 bricks inside, surrounded with bubble wrap. It's perfect size. They can't move around in there. If the corner gets damaged, no big deal, because we've got some space between the bricks and the corners, and it cost me 0. I actually had this, I was shipping some kitchen stuff when I moved house recently, so I had this lying around. That's another tip for you. Maybe go swing by your local liquor outlet and see if they've got some boxes. Avoid anything that's got obvious damage. Once a cardboard box has been compromised by being dropped on a corner or punctured, they're really not going to do any help protecting your comic books in transit. So make sure you look for clean and solid ones, but that's a great tip for you. I'm just putting together the last of these 3 boxes of bagged and boarded comics in bricks to send to Sean. I just wanted to point one little thing out that's just suddenly occurred to me while I'm doing this. When you've got the bricks and you're surrounding them with padding, bubble wrap or paper or whatever, just be a little careful, because, see if I can get you to see this. See how, can't do this, it's like reverse. The books are sort of sticking up here. I'm going to be jamming bubble wrap down the sides, and I just want to be careful that you don't jam so hard that you bend the corners of the books here. The goal is just to protect the bricks from the edges of the box loosely. They're not going to move around as long as you put a fair amount of bubble wrap around the corners and the ends, and there's enough space at the top filled with stuff, so you don't want them to move up and down if the box gets shaken like this. You want the padding to be kind of like sticking out of the top of the box a little bit. So when you close the flaps, it just kind of tightly folds over. Like that. See that? See how the bubble wrap's kind of springing out of the box when I open it, and then when I fold it closed, it's going to be tight. Just pick this up, give it a little shake. There's nothing moving inside. That's exactly what we want. Sorry about the weird camera angle. So I'm just going to take this closed and send it back to Sean.